Hi guys, welcome back to a new video with MTG Josh. Today we will be looking at Erebos, Bleak-Hearted. So it's the 3 in black, 5/6 indestructible god from Theros Beyond Death. And as long as your devotion to black is less than 5, it isn't a creature, so that's the usual stuff for these enchantment legends. And whenever another creature you control dies, you may pay 2 life, and if you do, draw a card. So that's a fantastic draw engine. And you can pay 1 black to sack another creature to give target creature -2, -1 until end turn. So it's got removal built in as well, so it's a really versatile general. And funnily enough, you don't really see him run that often, which is, I find quite strange, because I think he's such a great all-in-one package. And I think he's quite a lot better than the original Theros Erebos that was printed many years ago. So the deck is somewhat similar to the God Eternal Bond 2 deck that I made not so long ago. It's basically a value package for mono black. So you've got a lot of great black cards that you'll see in mono black decks, like Phyrexian Obliterator, 4 mana 5/5 trample. Whenever a source deals damage to it, that source's card sacks up any permanents. Against red and green, this is fantastic. You kind of just win the game if you resolve this against a red and green deck, because they struggle to just destroy or exile. A lot of red and green is mostly combat, so you'll probably do really well against them. Ayara is really good as well. 3 mana 2/3. Whenever Ayara or another black creature enters under your control, each opponent loses 1 and you gain 1. So this is a nice way to mitigate the life loss you would get from paying the 2 to draw a card when one of your creatures dies. And also, you can tap Ayara to sack a creature to draw a card. So it's almost like this is a match made in heaven. Ayara and Erebos have a fantastic combination. She also has 3 black pips combined with Erebos, so that's 4. All you need is 1 more black pip on the battlefield to turn Erebos into a creature, and you can swing with a 5/6. On the top end, we're looking at stuff like Shieldred, which is a mega powerful card. She's a 7 mana Swamp Walk 6/6. On your upkeep, return a creature from your graveyard to play, which is just amazing. And then beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that they sack a creature. So it's just an amazing value engine here. If you can get this going for 1 or 2 turns, you can basically win the game from that. And then you've got the obligatory Bolus Citadel, which is just a super powerful card to play stuff off the top of your deck. And there's quite a few cards in the deck that has quite a lot of mana pips, and that can help Erebos turn online. So yeah, if you like the look of the deck, look in the description for the deck list, and let's get into some games. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel. Opponent goes first with Garuda, Doom of Depths, and our starting hand is weird, very weird, and I'll tell you why. So obviously when I record these videos, I obviously do a lot of testing videos just to see how the deck works. Pretty sure I've drawn this exact hand already today, so it's kind of freaky. Let's scry, hopefully get a land. Yep, we'll leave the land on top. So Gigan or Garuda, they're just basically going to look to mill me out, mill themselves out, and they can revive an even CMC creature onto the battlefield. So it's quite scary. If they've got stuff like Ulamog, Brain Maggot. Brain Maggot. Okay. So they're getting rid of our ramp. Let's go for Woe Strider here. Now we do have the Mazebind Tome to scry against their mill effects, but they mill 4, so we only get to see 25% of what's on top. So it's not a very reliable way of stopping them getting a creature, unfortunately. Guess we're just going to have to hope they miss some land drops. Interesting. Okay, so there's no need to mill just now. But we can swing in with a Woe Strider. Having 4 mana up and they've got blue, what do you guys think that means? So let's swing in. I do like a bit of old school magic, as in, like, creatures bashing. When it's just playing around counters the whole time, it becomes a bit annoying. They probably want to counter something here, don't they? So let's make them counter our Erebos, I guess. Because at least we can recast that. Yep, so there we go. We'll see him again later on. Obliterator is not so great against a blue-black deck because they've got just kill and exile effects. So it looks like they're going to counter another spell here, which is quite annoying. Go to combat. Best thing we can really hope for is they don't get anything good with Gigan here. So we've got 5 mana. I guess go for the Obliterator. That's what they're gagging to counter, isn't it? Interesting. So maybe they've got a kill spell, exile spell, board wipe. We'll see. There's a lot of ways around this, especially in blue-black. Yeah, you can read it a lot. Oh, so this they're still going to take 4. Okay, that's interesting. That is interesting. So don't always be tempted to use the Scry on the Maze Mind Tome, especially if you're against a colour which has a lot of card advantage. Okay, so let's swing in with the Strider. Yeah, because the last thing you want is scrying early on and then regretting it when they remove all the cards in your hand. Because Maze Mind Tome is essentially having a virtual hand. So on a turn you can refill it by 1. And what to do here? Do they have another counter spell? Let's go for Timrak Calls the Dead. Negate, okay. Oh boy. And we'll draw a card with the Maze Mind Tome, just because we need to hit our 6th land drop. So we do miss it, which is unfortunate. So that would be a reason to use the Scry if you're desperate for lands. Rise from the grave, resurrecting my Phyrexian Obliterator. Okie dokie. And swinging in for 1. Oh, how brave. Okay, so I go for the Cavalier here. And I'm going to sack the Woe Strider. And the reason for that is, if Cavalier dies, it returns a creature with CMC 3 or less from the graveyard to play. So I wanted to get some value out of it if it was to die. Otherwise, I would sack the goat, and then when it dies, it doesn't get anything else. So giving the opponent dilemmas is what the format's all about. Don't just give it to them on the plate. Thassa plus Brain Maggot does mean they get to see our whole hand again, which is annoying. And it is also annoying when you consider they have the Gigan potentially every turn. So they didn't flicker the Brain Maggot. That's strange. They didn't want to see the rest of the cards in my hand. Okay, so let's swing in with the Cavalier. Okay. So some of the scary cards they could have in the deck: Ulamog, Massacre Worm. Let's get out the Erebos because it's the synergy tech that we are going to need to take over this game. Do they have any more lands in their deck? Gifted Aetherborn, so they've got Death Touch now. So it's still fairly safe for Cavalier to attack. But I could also be tricksy and have Erebos sack my goat to give Gifted Aetherborn -2. So we'll do that during combat. And accompany that with the Bastion to drain them a little bit as well. And we can even swing with Erebos at this point. So yeah, let's swing with the 2 main dudes. Now, do they see the trick? Well, if they saw it or not, we're still going to do it. So if you reduce a creature's power to 0 when they have Death Touch will deal nothing. So they're at 6. And we could put up something to help against board wipe, so put the Midnight Reaper. Now let's hope they don't have Extinction Event, because it will exile 3 of our well, it will exile the Cavalier and the Midnight Reaper. And yeah, they just missed their 6th land drop for the entire game, so maybe they should put more lands in that case. But yeah, moving on to the next game. So we go first against a Yargle Glutton of Urborg deck, so there'll be a mono black, I guess, can go many directions. It's a vanilla creature actually, which is quite strange to see, but it's a 5 mana 9/3, which is mega powerful if it's unopposed. So there's 2 ways they can go, maybe control, maybe aggro, but we'll see. Going to play Ghoulish Procession, which is a really nice new card from Midnight Hunt. Whenever 1 or more non-token creatures die, you create a 2/2 zombie with Decayed. It can only trigger once each turn, but I think for 2 mana this is a really nice bit of synergy. So it looks like they're going for possibly a Voltron build here with the Vorpal's Sword. If that hits you, they can pay 8 to win the game, which is something you don't hear very often. Okay, let's go for Woe Strider. Don't need to ramp because our next spells can be cast in our following turn anyway for 4 mana. If we had a 5 mana spell, then going for the ramp would have been probably optimal there. So they're going to kill our Woe Strider, so let's activate it to scry 1. It's a shame we can't do this with Erebos out, we could have drawn a couple of cards. Ugin is actually quite nice, so I'm happy to keep him on top. We can't cast him just yet, but it'll be nice to keep in the wings to be able to get with the Vorpal Sword once we get to 5 mana. And yeah, I think we'll go for the Relic now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we get a land next turn, we can get the Ugin out. So I'm not attacking with the zombie, and that's because if it does attack, it will die at the end of combat because it's got Decayed. I'd rather get Erebos out and then go for the zombie to be able to draw a card. So yeah, it's definitely a Voltron build, which is super cool. I've never seen this build before, so this makes me really happy, to be honest. Definitely happy to see this. So now we can go for Ugin and get some, hopefully, a bit of advantage out here. So I'm thinking of killing the Vorpal Sword, because if we go into the really, really long game, this is just a card that can win the game by itself. So yeah, once again, let's not attack until we get the Erebos out. Dread Presence. So if they play a Swamp, they could kill Ugin. Okay, so no Swamp, thankfully. Go for the Guardian Idol. 6 mana. So let's uptick with Ugin. Now I don't really want the Dread Presence to survive here. So I think I'm just going to exile it and get it out of the way. For a number of reasons. We also don't want them to be able to equip it with the Black Blade Reforged. I know it's a bit of a way off 7 mana, but... So it looks like they're really struggling for lands here, which is unfortunate. Still missed a land drop, yeah. That's a shame. I was looking forward to see how that game would have gone, but they've missed about 3 or 4 land drops, so it's completely understandable. Moving on to the next game then. Okay, so we go first against Olivia Crimson Bride. So they're going to be a Rakdos reanimator deck, looking to get out Olivia, dumping big stuff into the graveyard and smashing us in the face. So let's start with a tap land. We can even get a turn 2 Erebos, but I think I want to go for the turn 2 Dread Presence here. So this way we can recoup our lost card, because we technically used a card, 2 cards for 1 card there. Okay, so of course they have a removal spell. That's a real shame. Let's go for Tim Recalls the Dead. We can still apply pressure with these zombies as well, that'll be nice. Dusk Legion Zealot. Wow, they're just gumming the field up. Okay. Onyx would be nice to get out eventually. Oh, it's a shame we got the Yaragon there. That would have been nice to have. So So it's definitely a fast-paced game, which is what I like to see. Blood Vial Purveyor. Okay, so it's a 4 mana 5/6. So annoyingly, we just need a 6th land on top. So let's go ahead and exile the Blood Vial here. And I'm happy to swing in. And the good thing about exiling that guy is they're not going to be able to get him back with the Olivia when she swings in. And the other good thing is we can sack our things to kill these two as well. The Indulgent Aristocrat is going to be something we have to be careful of because they can sack a creature to put counters on all vampires they control, which is ludicrous. Board wipe perhaps. Croxer. Okay. Interesting. So yeah, we'll discard the Dreadhorde Invasion here. And a Florian. Sure thing. So I guess so there's a bit of a pickle. They got the first strike thing. Let's go for Elders Reborn, I guess. And hope they don't get a land because then we'll be losing our Onyx. That is a real shame. Although saying that, if they discard it, we can get it back with Elders Reborn stage 3. So I'm actually going to block here because I don't want them to get any extra advantage off the top of the deck. And I'm going to pay to draw. And by drawing an extra card, it gives us slight protection versus Croxer Reanimation. Now, unfortunately, they managed to synergize with our own Erebos, so they're going to be drawing some cards. And they probably hit their 6th land now as well, which they did. So that was a kind of lose situation. Each opponent discards a card. Okay, so I guess we go for the Onyx here. Make them sacrifice Champion of Dusk. Now, annoyingly, they're just going to be able to keep getting that back over and over again with the Olivia, so yeah, definitely an issue here. Damn, that synergy is actually insane. If they attack with Olivia, get back the Dusk, draw 5 cards when it comes in. Okay, so they're going for the Icon instead. So there's no point. So yeah, let's force them to sacrifice something with the Indulgent Aristocrat. Okay, they don't care about losing the Aristocrat, fair enough.
Great. So much for a new start.
So yeah, we'll draw another card. Plunderer could be nice if we had other creatures. They've managed to keep us at bay for a long time. It all started by killing our Dread Presence on turn 3, so that's annoying, or turn 2, sorry. Florine is actually pretty decent for 3 mana. I have to say, it's definitely growing on me. Bloodcaster. Gets blood tokens whenever something dies. So they're hard casting a Croxer, so let's get rid of the Plunderer. So they chose to exile their whole graveyard. That's interesting. So if I went for Liliana, I could get rid of 2 things. So yeah, let's go for the Dreadhorde General here. That's interesting.
Necromancer has a nice ring to it. You would be more useful in the grave.
So now we can go for the Bastion of Remembrance. And then let's sack the blood token to discard the swamp. We might get something a bit better here. And it's a duress. So yeah, let's just see what's in the hand. 2 creatures, okay. So here comes Olivia. So yeah, they've just had so much advantage this game. I guess we might as well block just to draw a card with Erebos and we'll drain them for 1.
They were a lousy servant anyway.
Okay, so it's going to be tough to survive here, especially when they're just drawing so many cards per turn. And Olivia having haste is pretty brutal. Rankle. Oh, wow. Oh, this is good. Okay, so Vengeful Strangler. So this is a cool card. Can't block. Whenever it dies, return to the battlefield, transformed under your control attached to a creature or planeswalker. And then it says, at the beginning of your upkeep, enchanted permanent's controller sacks another permanent, then they lose 1. So this could be a nice way to get rid of all their stuff over time. So now we go for Rankle. Swing with both. So we'll make each of us... Ah, you see, do I really want to make them discard when they have these huge things in their hand? I don't think so. So maybe just go for sack. And then we'll attach it to Olivia. And yeah, sure, I'll draw an extra card. So yeah, if we had discarded, made each of us discard there, they could have got rid of the attendance or the Drana from... Yeah, they could have got rid of those, and when they attacked with Olivia, they could have revived 1. So yeah, not great. Attacking with both. Reviving the knight. And yeah, happy to... So how much can they make this? They can make it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think we block the knight based on how much damage that can do. That's 2 extra pumps. So that this could have been 8 damage here with the knight. So down to 5. So we're going to die next turn anyway, so we might as well draw a card with Erebos here. Okay, so Swamp is not quite what we wanted. They're going to struggle recasting the Croxer because they don't have anything in the graveyard. Bastion of Remembrance could be really integral here. So we basically... Oh, damn, they could sack something. Deal 3. Damn, okay, so they're going to kill the Rankle. Yeah, that's a real shame. The Sorin has changed the maths drastically now. Shieldred! Oh, that would have been so good. Okay. So I guess we have to go for Shieldred. But yeah, it's not going to be enough. Yeah, that's a real shame. They can just revive it again. Oh well, interesting game at least. Opponent got really lucky with the amount of interaction they got. Getting that Sorin back. Well, not getting the Sorin back, but getting the Sorin dealing that extra damage really hurt. The Rankle would have been able to help a lot. Yep, fair enough. Moving on to the next game then. Going first against Niv Mizzet Perron, so we're going to need it. Because it's going to be a super control heavy deck. I don't know why I keep getting paired against the most annoying decks. Like, I don't mind facing tier 1, that's fine. But just at least give me some different tier 1 decks, you know what I'm saying? Give me a break. Okay, we can get to Bolus of Citadel, be good. If we can swing once with the Robber, would be nice. Chances are not likely, considering how often opponents get lucky. Okay, we get to swing with the Horde Robber. Woohoo! We get to use a card. And I guess we'll go for the Gleaming Barrier in case they board wipe. So Gleaming Barrier is just a sweet card. Defender 0/4. When it dies, create a treasure. Very simple. Very simple, nice effect. Improbable Alliance. Fantastic. Gives us yet another window. So do we give Erebos? What do we want to get out? I guess Solemn's important. We want to get some more lands here because the shuffler says no. I know if they board wipe, it's not too bad now. We're getting closer and closer to Niv. Cavalier's cool. So obviously we have enough mana for the Citadel, but I don't think that's wise. So let's go for the Erebos first. They potentially counter this, but we still have 6 mana left for the following turn, yep. So here we go, counter one of many. I just want them to tap out so we can go for the Citadel. George. Okay, so here we go, mega counters. More treasures, delightful. See, Horde Robber can be great as long as it just don't kill it on turn 2. So, can we bait them out here with the Argyle's Bloodfast? Apparently not. Can we bait them out with the Callous Blood Mage? Apparently not. Okay. Let's draw a card then. Ugin is also a really nice answer for their Niv, because it's not a spell and it doesn't give them a card when you cast it. Magma Opus, always a scary sight, especially if they've got Mizzix's Mastery. But Mizzix's Mastery is a sorcery and they don't have enough to overload it. So Mizzix's Mastery is a 3 in red, I think, sorcery. So if you cast it, you can cast an instant sorcery from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. You can overload it, and I think it's 5 red, red, red. Cast every instant sorcery in your graveyard for free. Mental! So this is obviously the counter spell. Sign in Blood. We can try and use that as a kill spell again, like we did that last time. Swing with all. Down to 13, make a treasure. So basically whatever we do, they can counter. So we don't really want to get Vengeful Strangler out just yet because they don't have any creatures. So let's try to Sign in Blood ourselves. Sweet. So we get an actual land. And let's try and go for the Celestis here. Celestis is great against control players because they don't like playing Magic. And when people don't play Magic, this goes from day to night. Our field is really stacked. They're going to have a lot of... they're going to have a good combat. I mean, obviously Flooded Tears exists, so they could just do that. That would be mega annoying. Bone Crusher Géant. Okay. Okay. Electrolyze. Wow, they just used 2 spells to kill... Okay, fair enough. 2 spells to kill 2 things. I guess it makes sense, right? And they've still got 2 mana open for this. Ooh, spell. So how much mana do we have? 4, 5, 6, 7... 11. So... Oh no, we've actually got Celestis too. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we can go for the double spell. So Erebos doesn't get counted. What? Okay. Let's kill off their fairy by sacking the gleaming barrier then. So what could it be? Oh, it's the extra turn spell they have, isn't it? Okay. Alright. So they're going to go for the extra turn spell, which is going to be 6 or 7 mana. But if they do it here, they get 2 birds. Narset. Narset. Okay.
Those who cannot perceive beyond
Sure thing.
reality. All right, I have just the trick for this.
What's it going to be? Friggin' time warp. Of course it is. So now they're looking to probably kill the Solemn. Okay, time warp with nothing on the field but Narset. Sure thing. Basically says draw a card. The joke is that Improbable Alliance doesn't even work with Narset because this card says you have to draw your second card each turn to get a fairy. Narset puts into your hands, does not count. Oh great, River's Rebuke. Oh, this is bad. River's Rebuke is super bad. That literally just screws up our entire field. So they're going to go for Elrond's Epiphany first. Okay. So let's... Okay, we don't need to do it just yet. We can at least kill the birds with the treasures, but it's not really what you want to be doing. Oh, that's so annoying getting River's Rebuke. It was looking so good. Basically Cyclonic Rift. Yep. So we're going to lose all the treasures anyway, so we might as well kill them. And we don't even get to draw... Oh, actually, no, we do get to draw a card because we can draw 1 card per turn. So we don't draw with Erebos, but we do draw with the Solemn. So decline with the Erebos. Okay. So yeah, there's no point using the others because they're just going to go anyway. So they've got 1 mana open. Do they have... something annoying here? Okay. Shieldred would be good. Flipping out. Let's just go for Shieldred then. Down to 9. And then we can play the Bloodfast in case things go sideways. Yeah, that's fine. Just got a card, get rid of that, and get rid of the Reaper. I don't want to lose any more life. Actually. Yeah, get rid of the Reaper. The Carolina Reaper. So Shieldred plus Blood Artist is pretty nice because we're going to get to drain stuff. So they're probably going to look to kill Shieldred here. And if they don't kill Shieldred, then their Niv will die in their next upkeep. Draconic Intervention. Okay, I mean, yeah, that definitely works. Holding priority for some reason? Oh no, it exiles them. Okay, sure. Murderous Rider. Okay, so we'll go down to 7. Sure. Let's try and kill the Narset. Let's see if they've got a counter spell here. Interesting. That is very interesting. So they don't care about us drawing loads of cards. Okay. Okay, let's try and get Celestus out then, just because it's just a way to get a little bit of life. And we've got 6 mana, 7 mana. So let's use the blood to get rid of the Geezer. I don't think that's going to be useful in this match. We'll gain a bit of life as well because of the Sanguine Brushstroke. We don't want to lose any more life at the top. 5, 6. Let's go for the Cavalier, see if they counter that. So basically the idea is get rid of, so just let's get rid of all the counter spells possible, and then they're just gonna hopefully not have much protection left up for Niv. If they go for Niv, they're not gonna have much coloured mana left because it takes all of their colourful mana. So they could go for Niv plus the Giant. Don't forget, if we get 10 non-permanents out, we can just sack them all to the Citadel and just deal 10 to them. So that is like a side goal here. They're going to pass the turn, so they probably have some other counter spell. We get a trigger of Celestis, which is really good. And I think it's time to say bye to the Vengeful Strangler. They're never going to cast Niv, which is just quite annoying here. Well, Crawling Barrens is a win con. Let's try and cast the Murderous Rider, I guess. It's got lifelink, hasn't it? Do they want us to gain life? So they've got their own Crawling Barrens as well, so we're going to have to be careful of that. That could be 4 damage coming in through the next turn. They could also draw a card if they have the City's Blessing, which they do. We could just make them have to counter everything though. Like, if they want to spend their turn activating Crawling Barrens, then they're not going to be able to stop us getting life with the Murderous Rider. My ultimate goal is to get out Ugin Uptick, then it can make our rocks cost 2 less. Okay, so the opponent just unsporting conduct, basically. I wish you could report players for unsporting conduct. We go first against Yorion, and starting hand is... it's okay. Yeah, we'll keep it. I like having Blood Artist. It's pretty awesome board wipe prevention. Well, not prevention, but protection. Opponent's using Yorion, so they're going to be an Azorius Flicker deck. Very powerful. Seen him a lot in my recent videos, I think. You probably know what it does now. Play lots of cool ETB stuff on permanents. Yorion comes in, flickers them all, normally wins the game. So we're going to have to try and stop them from doing that, basically, which is pretty obvious if you've seen any games of Magic before. And if you haven't seen any games of Magic before, then welcome to Magic. Wow, just drawing on the swamps, interesting. So let's swing for 1, I mean 0. What do I want to do in my following turn? Maybe Erebos? So I think the logic... oh, Thassa's Oracle. Okay, that changes things slightly. See, now I want to get out. I kind of want to kill it. I do want to kill it, but they only get to win the game if they've got no cards. So Thassa's Oracle, ETB, look at the top X cards where X is devotion to blue. So it's 2. Put up to one of them on top and the rest on the bottom. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. So luckily they've got 8 cards. They can't win just yet. When you use stuff like Playcraft in a deck that involves sacking creatures on each side, you want to try and whittle down the opponent's creatures so they don't have any left, because the current situation is, if they go for Yorion and we go for Playcrafter, they're going to sacrifice probably the Thassa's Oracle here. But by neutralising all the early threats, you make sack effects more effective. So it's a tricky balance. You don't want to have too many of these, because if everything's a sack effect, you never have pinpoint removal, and that's the important stuff to have. Elite Spellbinder. The card of choice for all the tryhards out there. I don't even think it's that good. Like, in Standard, it's mental because turns don't really go beyond turn 4, turn 5. In Historic Brawl and Commander, really not sure. In Commander, probably not very good unless you can flicker it infinitely. But this is Citadel. Sweet, so I couldn't even cast that yet anyway. So yeah, let's go for the Obliterator. Now, one little nice thing about Obliterator, it's got 4 pips. So we swing in. And obviously the more pips your stuff has, the more your gods turn online. Now, what are the odds they're going to have an exile effect? Probably quite high, because that is just my luck playing Historic Brawl. Swinging in with his big balls. If you guys didn't know, this card was based on Pro Tour player PVDDR, I think. Paulo Vito Damodorosa, really good player. This artwork is based on his likeness, which is really cool. Must be quite the honour to get your face on a Magic card. Pretty cool. So Charming Prince is probably going to flicker the Elite Spellbinder here. Just the typical thing tryhards do. Basically, not letting you play Magic. Sun Gold Sentinel. Wowzers. Okay. So they've got quite a lot of decent flicker targets if Yorion does come down. So I can almost guarantee that Playcrafter will hit the Oracle, but if I had 7 mana, yeah, it's a shame. Ooh, this is nice. Okay. Okay, so first thing we do is we swing in for 10, because they're not going to block. And if they do block, something is horribly wrong. I don't think they've been playing Magic that long, to be honest. They can see I've got the Playcrafter in my hand. Yeah, well, let's teach them a lesson. So we go for Vengeful Strangler. Playcrafter. Comes in, sack the Strangler. We're going to get some triggers here. Quite a few. So this dies, it comes in attached to... Now, they're going to probably get able to flicker anyway, so it doesn't really, it's a bit arbitrary, but... So, drain them for life as well. Draw a card. Wow. Fatal Push. This is epic. Wow, yeah. I think we've basically secured our victory, unless they go for a board wipe. But again, board wipe with Blood Artists on the field, awesome. And we get to draw quite a few cards as well. So they get a tap land. Pretty sure they're screwed now. Okay. I just kind of want to justify when I was saying Elite Spellbinder is a tryhard card. So, some people just play Magic, like myself, and just use all sorts of generals and try and see what you can do and experiment with different things. But then you get some people who use Yorion, which is a high tier general, very easy to pilot, and then just loads of cards that oppress your opponent, so stuff like Elite Spellbinder. It doesn't actually create a very fun experience, really, stopping people playing Magic like this. But are they dead? Or they're going to sack the Cold Steel Heart, perhaps. Other cards in the tryhard bracket would be Narset, Parter Veils, obviously Golos and Esseka's Prismatic Bridge side. Just any cards that would be like so oppressive over time that would just crush your opponent into dust without really trying. You might notice that with my decks, I I quite like to jump through hoops, and a lot of the generals I use, I never ever see on the battlefield. Like, there's probably a handful of about 20 generals that exist in Historic Brawl right now, and they just go around and around in circles in circulation, and they all use the same deck list. So, I mean, of course that's just the game, but there's no balance to it. Like, to every game, you could argue, oh, let's let people use what they want. Yeah, that's perfectly fine, but at least use different things as well. Like, if you're seeing a high influx of something, instead of just joining the party and using those cards, just try something outside the box, you know? That's how I improved as a player. Try and find the answers via breaking the meta rather than joining the meta. When I went to, I think I mentioned before in another video, I went to a Grand Prix once, so it's a competitive place to play Magic, and it was the Khans of Tarkir block. So there was a lot of the same deck. I think I must have faced like 5 or 6 Siege Rhino decks. And yeah, it was quite hell. So swing in, and yeah, there's a game with a bit of a rant in it for you. Sweet.
If you enjoyed watching this video, why not try some of my other videos on my channel? And don't forget to support me by hitting the like and subscribe button for more content like this.